Thank you so much for coming. I want to first thank the Philadelphia chapter for all their work on this cookbook and for setting this up, and for Ghada for teaching us all how to cook. I am going to mute everyone, and at least during the presentation, but once, if you have any questions at any time, feel free to put them in the chat. If you want to raise your hand, there's that feature too through Zoom. Once Ghada is done cooking, we will answer all those questions. And so with that, I'm just going to pass it over to Ghada and Sahtain.
Thank you, Justin. I really appreciate giving us this opportunity to present one of the traditional recipes in the Abundance Cookbook. I'm not going to be teaching you how to cook. I'm going to be demonstrating to you how to cook. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ghada Bistanji, and I am from the WAAAUB, Philadelphia, Delaware Valley chapter. I graduated from the AUB in 1991 with a bachelor degree in agricultural engineering, and I have another degree in 1999 with master's in animal science research. Please don't try to calculate my age because I don't consider years as age. I would like to second Justin what he said. I really like to thank you for joining us today. It's a great opportunity the AUB New York office has given us during this tough time. And we came with the idea of presenting one of our cookbooks recipes. And this cookbook, let me introduce it before I say anything about the recipe. This has been produced in 2016. It is produced meticulously with love and care and traditional home recipes where they are simplified so each busy mom will be able to cook. I have few recipes in this book. One of them is fatet al-magdous that I will present. We were so lucky that 2,000 copies of this book has been printed and they are all sold out. Now we are more lucky that we have a Kindle version of the Abundance that is sold on Amazon. Please, if you are interested, go ahead and buy it. And if you like it, leave us a good review on Amazon. During the introduction of the recipe, I will be mentioning all the ingredients. You don't need to take notes because Asma Ghannam, the president of the WAAAUB Philadelphia Delaware Valley chapter, will be posting that on the chat, and it also will be posted on our Facebook page, the chapter Facebook page, and Asma will post it right now on the chat. Let me start with the part of the recipe that will take the most time, which is about 20 minutes in the oven at 385 degrees Fahrenheit, about 190 degrees centigrade. I will shorten the time and increase the temperature of the oven just to be done within 30 minutes. My son Adam will show you the ingredients that I will start with, which is the eggplant. Can you switch the camera, Mama? Yeah. The eggplants. And normally the eggplants, you can bring it raw, take out the stem, fry it a little bit and let it sit. This is prepared. I'll tell you the secret later on. And we have the onions and we have the water that I already heated. I'll take it to the other side. So I will do it as quickly as I can. We will start with the onion. For the onion, I will use 2 tablespoons of corn oil that I will fry lightly, crescent shape. Onions, I need about 500 grams, which is almost 3 medium size onions. I already preheated the oven, and I'm gonna wait a little bit on the onions. Normally it is 7 to 8 minutes, but at this point in time, I'll just heat it a little bit and put it in the other dish just to save time. I will tell you a little bit about the eggplants. Normally, the traditional way is that they empty the pulp of the eggplant, they stuff it with ground meat, then they fry it, and then they cook it. But when you empty the pulp, I found it's time consuming and you lose the taste. So what I do is that I leave it as is, and you will see later what I'm gonna do. I leave it as is, I just fry it a little bit with corn oil, let it sit on a paper napkin, and then I use it on top of the onion, cut it on the top, the eggplant, I cut it on the top, stuff it with cooked ground meat, and it's ready to go. And in my opinion, I tried both. It saves the taste, and actually it's more tasteful. As for the onions, I think I'm good this way. I'll just put it down. Normally I wait till it is golden, but at this point in time, I think I'm good. I'll add 2 tablespoons olive oil, actually 1 tablespoon olive oil, 2 tablespoons tomato paste. I'm doing the sauce now. I will add some pepper, about 1/4 or 1/2 black pepper. I will add 1 teaspoon salt, and then I add the water, and I add it hot, so this way I save some time when I do the tomato sauce. There you go. 3 cups of water. I'll let it simmer a little bit over here. In the meantime, let it boil and simmer for a few minutes. I put 3 minutes on the timer. Now I will assemble the eggplant that will be cooked in the oven, and that is the major part of فتة المكدوس or فتة الباذنجان. So I used 900 grams of eggplant, which is about 2 pounds baby eggplants, about 12 to 14 baby eggplants. These eggplants are not always found in the market, especially in the USA. So I'll tell you a secret. Whenever you find it in the farmer's market or sometimes in Indian stores, I'll just buy a bulk of these, clean them, unstem them, fry them a little bit, put them in Ziploc bags, and put the Ziploc bags in the freezer. What I will do now is that I will cut the top of the eggplants. Is it clear, Adam?
Yeah.
Can you see? It cut the top of the eggplants with, it's a bit soft because it's fried before. And these, I went yesterday to the farmer's market to get some eggplants, baby eggplants. I couldn't find any, but luckily I had some frozen. Now for the ground meat, it's already made. I'll just stuff it in. Then I will tell you how I do it. I usually get 85 to 90% lean meat. So you still have some fat to give the flavor, but yet it's lean. These are about 2.2 pounds of meat with 250 grams of onions, about 2 onions. I fry the onions, and I'll tell you a secret about the onions. I don't cut or chop the onions manually. I cut it quarters, pulse it in a food processor, and voila. It's there, it's ready. And this ground beef, you can prepare it ahead of time, 2 days or 3 days ahead of time, and it is ready to be used. Even if you have any extra, you can put in the freezer. Now the sauce is done, and the eggplant stuffed on top of the onions is already done. I forgot to mention that you save some ground beef to use as a garnish on top of the fatty. Let me put the tomato sauce. Okay. Can you see, Adam? All right. I'll cover it with aluminum foil. I already heated the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I think, about 200 degrees centigrade. I put it in the lower level for 15 minutes. And in the meantime, I will continue with the other ingredients. To prepare the yogurt or the lemon. The lemon can be prepared ahead of time, but I wanted to demonstrate to you how I do it. It's 1 clove of garlic minced with 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of tahini, 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, according to your taste. I like to use the whisk when I'm doing these kind of liquidy mixtures. It gives it a smooth touch and consistency. Now I use the yogurt. The yogurt is about 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds. And I use this one. I put the yogurt over here. Sometimes you might need to add some cold water. And at this point in time, I think I'm good. What I do in gatherings, normally I always have fatet al-makdous as a dish. It's a side dish. It takes a lot of preparations, but if I do everything ahead of time, can you see how smooth the yogurt looks? I don't think it needs any addition of cold water. I prepare the yogurt ahead of time. I put it in the fridge. I prepare the ground meat. I put it in the fridge or in the freezer. And I put, I fry the pine nuts. And this is really important to me because every time I have a gathering, the last thing I will do before I serve the fatet al-makdous is fry the pine nuts, because something you have to know about fatet al-makdous. The minute you assemble the 7 layers of it, and I will tell you about the 7 layers later, the minute you assemble the 7 layers, you have to serve it. So the pine seeds goes last, and the people will have came, and I will be busy, and most of the time I burn the pine seeds. So I always fry them ahead of time. When I need to put it as a last step on the fete, I just add the oil, 2 tablespoons corn oil, 1 tablespoon butter. You can skip the butter if you like, but just for the flavor, I prefer to keep it. And there's so much you can do about skimming fats from your diet. I leave it on low heat till it is ready to be mixed with the pine seeds. I'll put this over here. Put it on low heat to melt. This will save us some time. And we have almost everything ready. There is the pita chips, which is the first layer of the fete. The pita chips, traditionally, they cut 3 large loaves of pita bread. They cut it through with scissors or a knife into squares. They deep fry it. They let it sit on a paper towel to get rid of the oil, and then they serve it. To me, I find it very practical, very healthy, just to get the Stacy chips. For those living in the US, it's found everywhere. I'm not doing an ad here. I'm not being paid by Stacy chips, but I use it for the fete. I use it for the fattoush, and it is very practical. It's baked pita chips, and I use 4 cups of the pita chips, and that constitute the first layer. I prepared 4 cups, but I think some of my kids ate from it. I don't know who. They've been out in the kitchen since yesterday. I'll put some more. You have to see, Adam, can you show them how even, not too much, not too little. Even talking. I will tell you some hints I use in the kitchen. Normally, when I am cooking, I try to use as little as I can saucepans, as little as I can dishes, spoons, plates. If you see with the saucepan that we did the onion in, the same saucepan I did the tomato sauce in, I always have a towel in my hand. It's very practical. Whenever I am cooking, I'm always washing whatever comes out from the dish. This way, by the time I am done with my dish, the kitchen is clean and it is organized. Let's go back to the 7 layers of the Fatet al-Magdous. As I told you before, it's the traditional Fatet al-Magdous. And I want to tell you a little bit of story before that, how I got introduced to Fatet al-Magdous. May she rest in peace, my mother-in-law. The first time I went to Syria to meet her, she cooked Fatet al-Magdous for me. And I was like, what is this dish? And she said, Fatet al-Magdous. I was amazed by the taste of that dish. That I remember I only ate Fatet al-Magdous for lunch at that day. And I was like, can I have the recipe? And you know how old people don't like to give recipes. And I remember spending 3 hours literally with a pen and a paper trying to grab from her few items from that recipes, till I promised her, you know what, I'm gonna cook it for your son, just give me the recipe. And she gave me the recipe. Actually, Fatet al-Magdous is a Syrian dish. I know some Lebanese do it. They do some alterations of recipe if it is, some do it without meat. using chickpeas. Some do the big eggplant. They cut it slices, they fry it, and they layer it. To me, I find the baby eggplant is unique in taste, but my mother-in-law would empty the inside of the eggplant, stuff it with meat, fry it, deep fry it, then boil it all in a saucepan on top of the oven. And to me, it was a big mess because she has to collect the stuffed eggplant from that sauce on top. That's why I modified the recipe to have the whole eggplant with the pulp inside and cook it in the oven, because you will see when it comes out of the oven, it will be ready. I think there's like 5 minutes left. It will be ready. It will be ready to be served. Other hints I would like to give you is the parsley. I wash it days before. I dry it on a towel. I cut it into, when it's dry, I chop it. I put it in a container with paper towel in the bottom and the paper towel on top. And it can stay in my fridge for up to 2 weeks. If it's washed well, dried well, sometimes it takes overnight on a towel. And guess what? I just opened the fridge, got some from the container I already have, and I can use it. For the garnish that we will use, I have 2 tablespoons pine seeds, and I already put the corn oil, the butter in the small saucepan, and the parsley. Back to the 7 layers. The 7 layers, I start with pita chips. Then I put the onions that I already have under the stuffed eggplant. Then I put the eggplants on top. Then I put the tomato sauce. Here we have pita chips, stuffed eggplant, onions, tomato sauce, yogurt. Then I will put some of the ground meat that is left. That's 6. And in the end, I splash the butter and the oil. I like those sounds when I splash it in the very end on the yogurt, and I distribute the pine seeds. You're gonna see me assemble that now. We have everything ready. I think we are just waiting on the eggplant. But let me tell you in the meantime something about the recipe. By the way, the recipe is on page 222 in the cookbook. There you go. That's the actual picture, and that's the actual recipe that will be posted on the Facebook and on the chat now. Asma will do it. I was lucky to go through the cookbook and check some other recipes, and there is so many options. And if I am, let's say, lost on Google with which recipe I will use, I go back to this stuffed eggplant, and hopefully I will have the Kindle later on, which will make my life much easier. What other hints I would like to give you? I told you all of this can be prepared ahead of time. The yogurt can be prepared, put in the fridge. After you mix everything, you just put it in the same container, put it in the fridge. The ground beef is prepared before, the pine seeds is prepared before, and something else. Even what I'm cooking right now, I can prepare ahead of time. I usually cook it the night before I have the gathering. So the next day I only heat it and it is ready to go. I think the eggplant is ready. Let me take it out. I think it needs like 10 more minutes, but it's okay. I can still use it. That looks yummy. I put it side by side. The whole ingredients are for a dish 9 by 13. I'm just putting off the oven. 9 by 13. We put the 3 cups of Stacy pita chips. Now it's time to transfer the eggplants. Normally I put in each row 4 or 3. I can take some onions with it too. I think it could have been baking for 5 more minutes more, but that's fine. You have to smell the smell. I'm right now fasting and I cannot wait to grab a bite of this tonight. Smells so good. Okay, now it's time. So how many layers do we have so far? We have 2, the pita chips and the eggplant. Now the onions, they give a very good taste when you are doing fatted al-makdous. I should have fried the onions a bit more till they are golden. But I don't want to keep you waiting till I fry the onions. But still, this is good. Now I will add the tomato sauce. So far I have 4 layers. Are you counting with me? I don't want to put too much because I don't want the pita chips to be mushy. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe we need some more over here. I think I do. Okay. I think that's it. So 4 layers. Sometimes there will be some of these oils I would just like to sprinkle because they have all the taste in them. Now it's time for the yogurt. I whisk it a little bit. And I will spread it evenly in a zigzag manner. On top. So which layer is this? This is layer number 5. It's exactly 1 kilogram of yogurt with 2 tablespoons tahini, 3 teaspoons of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 clove garlic. I know there's a lot of people that do it very garlicky. It's sometimes offensive, especially if you are fasting, and I don't recommend that. Let me heat the meat a little bit. If I was not on Zoom Live, I would have cleaned. Some of the spoons. Now I heated the oil and the butter. I just dumped pine seeds, ready for the last 2 layers. These are already heated. Just be careful. Normally, when I'm waiting for something, I would wash something in the sink. I think it's ready. We can use the meat now. This is, I spread the meat evenly on top. This is layer number 6. I'm waiting for that splash. The parsley is last because I don't like to put it before the oil. It will change in color and appears as if it is cooked. Is this hot enough? Let me heat it on this one. Probably this is faster. I'm just waiting on the pine seeds to heat. I want you to hear with me the splash sound. Come on. You know, it is the month of Ramadan, and traditionally they do everyday fatteh, fattoush, and soup. So there's so many kinds of fatteh, fatted chickpeas fatteh, fatted hummus, fatted al-makdous, fatted batinjane, chicken fatteh. By the way, there is chicken fatteh recipe in the Abundance cookbook that I was lucky to get it from a friend, and she, I tasted at her house, and she agreed to post it in the cookbook. It is so good. By the way, the Abundance cookbook is, we worked on it for a long time. It has initiated in by the WAAAUB Philadelphia Delaware Valley chapter, but 45 volunteers worked on it from all over the world. In the US, did you hear the noise? Hear the sound? Let me spread the pine seeds. I can't wait to dig in. Adam, do you like that little magdu?
No.
You don't? You hear the, oh my God, I always wait for this last moment. And the last touch is the parsley. I usually spread it all over. Some people prefer to put it on the 4 corners and in the middle. I prefer to spread it evenly all over, so anyone who tries the dish will have a little bit of parsley. And we are done here. Voila. Voila, the dish, not me. That's fattet al-makdous, this famous 7-layer fattet al-makdous. It is simplified because I know moms like me are so busy. Most of the recipes in the cookbook is traditional, unique recipe, simplified just to take less time. Hopefully, in the coming month, we will be able to do more of these demos by different AUB volunteers. And today is May 8th, Friday, May 8th. It's the 15th day in Ramadan. It is the middle of Ramadan. It's a holy night. And it's also a special day to us in WAAAUB Philadelphia, Delaware chapter, because this is the date that was set to do our annual iftar and we do it very special. We prepare for it a lot. And those who attended last year know we do a whole ambiance of Ramadan, and it is Galabiya Tarbush iftar. I missed it this year. We had to cancel it. Hopefully next year, whoever in the area and we still do the iftar can join. In the end, I would like to thank you for joining us today. In these tough times, the AUB is always thinking of how to keep us always engaged as a community. I would like to remind you, please, if you are interested, buy the Kindle version of the Abundance. It is sold at Zoom in the USA, and it is sold through, I think, Al Furat. Hold on, I forgot. Asma would know. Asma, would you like to help me here? Tell me where it is sold. I know it's sold.
First off, Ghada, thank you for the recipe. It's sold on Amazon, and all the proceeds from the Kindle version go to a student-led AUB food distribution initiative.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. And thank you all for joining. Really, Ghada's taken a complicated recipe and made it in like 25 minutes.
And if you have any suggestions, any comments, please forward the questions to the following email, the WAAAUB Philadelphia email, Asma right now.
Yes, it's on the chat room. It's on the chat room. I posted our Facebook page where you will find the recipe and our email. Please, this is the first time we do this. We're open to suggestions and feedback. Thank you, Ghada.
Thank you, Asma. And one last thing, this demo is recorded, so it will be posted. Justin can tell you where it will be posted. Bon appetit, enjoy, and صحتين.
Thank you, Justin. Were there any questions?
Yes, we have a few questions. But first I want to thank Ghada and the chapter. And yeah, as Asma said, that the proceeds from the Kindles go to a student-led initiative that is helping to feed needy families in Lebanon. And it's done through the AUB Center for Community, for Civic Engagement and Community Service. And it was the students that really wanted to help out the people in the area. And it seems like your chapter and has also taken to this project and is doing a lot to help people who are in desperate need back in Lebanon. One question we have from Nellie is, with the yogurt, can you refrigerate it and warm it up as leftovers, or do you guys usually do that with this dish?
The yogurt is served cold. Yeah. So it's better if you prepare it, refrigerate it, and serve it the next day. You put the yogurt cold. The only hot portions are the stuffed eggplant, the tomato sauce, the onions under the stuffed eggplants, and the meat on top. But the yogurt is served.
And say you don't finish the whole thing. Do you usually save it and serve it the day after, or no? Or it goes every time.
It will not be the same taste if it is assembled.
Yeah.
I save it in the fridge. We can heat it in the microwave. It will not taste the same, but it still tastes good, but not longer than 2 days. Then you are done.
Yeah. We've got lots of praise in the comment section. Anyone, if you want to jump in and speak to Ghada, you're more than welcome, and ask any questions.
I wanted to add here that any fatty you warm up the next day is not the same. The yogurt dries up. It's better eaten the same day.
It's you're absolutely
right.
Remove the yogurt. Remove the yogurt to cook it, to warm it up the next day, and add more yogurt.
It's
very good comment. Ghada, I have a question. I know in the interest of time here, the tomato sauce, is it usually a little bit thicker?
It is a little bit thicker, yeah.
Fine, just to know, no problem. Yeah, the cookbook reflects the thickness, but I wasn't sure. I just wanted everybody to know for the audience. Thank you, Ghada.
Thicker because normally it takes 5 to 10 minutes more in the oven.
Yeah, thank you, Ghada. Yeah, the short tips were helpful because it's a lot to do on the same day. So thank you. And hey, Adam, shout out to the awesome photographer. Thank you.
Was it good?
I just have a question, Ghada. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Nivan.
Yeah. Can you skip the skip the step that you put the onions and the eggplant in the oven, as long as you saute them before, like you saute the onion and then you fry the eggplant and you put the ground beef in it. Can you just layer it immediately, or you have to put it in your oven first?
You have to put it in the oven because I did not deep fry the eggplants.
Oh, okay.
The are still raw. So I just saute, if you would like to say it. Saute, just saute the eggplants before I freeze it or before I put it in the oven.
Okay, but if you deep fry the eggplant, can you skip that step? No.
You can skip it, but you will get a different taste. Because you have the onion cooked, you have the eggplant cooked, you have the meat cooked, but those juices that are mixed together that give you this flavor is not there.
Okay. I'm just trying, because you made it look so nice and simple. So I'm just trying, you know.
It is simple. I have some people that serve it with the big eggplant sliced, and they fry it and they layer it, which is the same concept as what you were saying, but it tastes different.
Yeah, it's different. It's going to be different. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was.
We have another question from Alessandra. She was asking, she says her husband doesn't like eggplant. Are there any vegetables to use as sort of replacements?
Go ahead, Asma. Would you like to take this one?
Another vegetable. You know, fattat al-makdoos is really eggplant. We do have in the cookbook a recipe for fatteh with, it's without eggplant. It's called fattat al-jaj. It's on page 162. Okay, that's called fattat al-jaj. It's not eggplant, but it's a slightly different recipe, but hey, it's got the yogurt and it's got the layering concept and the pita. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
I think so. But also, do people ever use zucchini? Is that? I think I've seen that in Lebanon, but I'm not sure.
Zucchini for the fatteh?
Yeah.
They use hummus, chickpeas.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, to follow up what Ghada just said, the recipe page 237 is with chickpeas. And to answer Janet's question, the recipe page 318 is also fattat al-makdoos, and the Layla Fathallah, one of our famous chefs, she actually used the large eggplant, Janet, because we can't always find the baby ones. Yeah. You just heard Ghada say that luckily she had some frozen. Yeah. So yes, you can use the large one, and that's the Layla Fathallah's recipe, which is very close to Ghada's, page 318.
Got it. Thank you so much, Asma.
There is also cauliflower.
Ah, that's another one, yes.
How do they do cauliflower? I never did it.
I haven't, but I ate it at some friends. They do it the same way. But some people don't like to fry things. They bake them also.
You can bake it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I have a question for the audience. Has anybody tried any of the atayef recipes in the book? We have two different atayef recipes. One, the atayef asafiri. I'm just curious if any of the folks on the line have tried any of the atayef recipes.
I will be trying the one with the 3 cups of flour, 1 cup of semolina.
Okay, just curious. Let us know how it is.
How many recipes out there?
There's 2. In the cookbook, there's 2 ataif. One has more semolina, depending on, some people like more flour, some people like more semolina. So it's la jidala fi dhawq, as they say.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree. I agree. Any other
Any
questions?
other questions, Justin?
Not at the moment. Oh, someone asked to have the atayef as part of the next cooking demonstration.
I agree. I want that. And I also want what it is called, the asmaliye. Do you know it, Justin? Asmaliye.
No.
Oh my God. I know someone that is joining us right now who did it, and she sent me pictures. You know who I'm talking about, right?
No, I think we'll do the atayef first. Somebody, any volunteers for the atayef? Okay, we'll take it under consideration. Thanks, great comments. And Ghada and Justin, thank you. And Lina, Jazzy, thank you for suggesting this, really. And thank you all for joining.
It was great. Thank you all. Thank you, Asma. And thank you, Ghada. This was really fantastic.
I really appreciate it at this tough time. It's very important to connect.